Alright, well, today we're going to be talking about the reasons you should learn to play music and why it's not as hard as you think. I know it's very intimidating. When you see someone playing, you're like, I could never do that, or said I don't have rhythm, but it's a little bit easier than you think. And even if you're not great, you're not good, you can still enjoy music. There's beginner, musicians that they still enjoy playing, even if it's simple songs. And a majority of songs can be played using 4 chords. So if you learn 4 chords, you can play a majority of songs, and it's fairly easy. So I'll just kind of start out today with a demonstration. So let's just kick it off. A little bit different here. Back to a more mild jump. So let's get into talking about it. So as you can see, that might be a little intimidating. You think, man, I could never play that. But learning an instrument necessarily isn't hard, but it does take a lot of time and a lot of effort. So you start out slow and you build your way to working there. I'm so glad this podium's on wheels. So I've been playing guitar for 15 years now. My parents started me out with lessons when I was 6 years old, and I took lessons from Roseland Cunningham. And that's who the store Roseland's in Dover was named after. So I had the opportunity to do an internship with them recently, and so I'm just thankful I've gained so much from that family. So I've played in social events, in coffee shops, in churches, and youth rallies, all kind of places. And you may think, man, I really wish I could play guitar. I really wish I could play an instrument. And you don't have to be good to enjoy it. So you can learn it. Now specifically today I'm going to be talking about guitar, simply that's because of what I play. But what I'm talking about can apply to any instrument that you want to learn. So I'm going to tell you some of the needs that we as college students may all have and how guitar or instruments can fill those needs and the many uses guitar has and where you can buy your first guitar and just some tips and things. So we're all college students and we deal with a lot of worries every day. We have exams and homework and work and student debt, all those sort of things. We deal with a lot of stressors as well. Many of us, especially before exams or speeches, we deal with anxiety or stress. We have a gripping fear that we're not prepared for that test. We have finals coming up. Who's not? We're a little bit afraid of those. And we try many methods to reduce those fears. We try yoga or stress balls. Essential oil seems to be one of those big things. Another, kind of worry that we as college students may have is about our health. What shape we're going to be when we get older, our mental health, how our mind is working. Have you ever been in like a nursing home or maybe have some older family members that their mind doesn't just seem sharp and maybe they have dementia or things like that? For me personally, it always scares me to think like, oh, I don't want that to happen to me. It's a sad thing, and that's one of my worries personally. So I'm sure we've all experienced regret in our lifetime. That's another thing that we may worry about. Sometimes, you lay asleep at night thinking of something you did years ago, and you're like, why did I do that? And you can't, it's years ago, it doesn't matter, but we still have that regret. But now that I've shown you some of the things that we may worry about, I'm going to show you how guitar can kind of fix some of those needs or satisfy those needs. So first of all, learning to play an instrument can reduce stress, especially if you're playing in a quiet environment, you're all alone and you just have your instrument, that can largely reduce stress. So playing an instrument can even replace other stress-reducing methods. So no more hot yoga or essential oils, just pick up an instrument and play. Playing an instrument can help prevent dementia or cognitive impairment, which is that's a big thing. Just by playing an instrument, you can prevent some of those things from happening. Talking about stress reducing, we have a guy at our church that plays the bass, and when he plays, he looks like the most relaxed person on the earth. Like he has his own seat, and he sits back, and his eyes are half closed, and you just think, man, I wish I could play bass like that. He just looks so comfortable. And he probably uses it to reduce some stress. When you're playing music, specifically an instrument, it's like exercising and maintaining the health of your brain. So instead of going to the gym, you pick up an instrument, and that's how you exercise your brain and keep it in good shape. So even when things like dementia or cognitive impairments are genetic, they're in your family genes, learning an instrument will still reduce the likelihood of you contracting those impairments, which is, I think that's amazing. Even when it's in your very genes, it still reduces those chances. Also, playing music exercises the right and left side of your brain. So that logical side, that mathematical, calculating side of your brain is exercised by the mathematics in music. So I personally don't like math. It's one of my least favorite subjects. But I bear with it in instruments because it's so much fun when you put it to music. So for example, when you're counting, like we were talking about the rhythm, that's math. All of music is cut into timing. And all those timing, like each note there's quarter notes and half notes and eighth notes, and all of those tell you how long to play the note or how long to play the chord. So there's a lot more math in music than you might think. It also exercises that creative part of your brain, especially when you're writing music or doing improvisation. Just coming up with your own solo or putting together your own chord progression exercises that creative part. So even if you're a very logical person, maybe you like math, very calculating, music is for you. And even if you're on the far creative side, music is still for you. Music or learning an instrument improves hand-eye coordination. Let me tell you, it definitely takes a lot of hand-eye coordination for some of those finger picking things. Just basically matching up what both of your hands are doing, and that applies to any instrument. Even like flute, you're doing the same thing, or piano, all of them. Learning an instrument improves efforts in other academic areas. If your grades are suffering, pick up a musical instrument and it might help. Studies have been done and elementary students who play music. And it's been shown that their grades are actually better than those who don't, especially in areas of English and math. And that is directly from Kent State's website for music degree. And some of these other statistics are as well. Lastly, it helps you explore the cultures. Think about it. Every single culture has their own music and their own instruments. So just by playing music, even guitar, it doesn't have to be a different instrument, but by playing guitar, you can play music from a bunch of different cultures. So that's one way, music kind of unites all cultures. It's kind of universal. When we all hear that rhythm, we can all understand there's something going on there. That's something that's understandable. It's not a language that we all speak, but it's a language we can all listen to. You will most likely experience regret for not playing an instrument. Ask your parents, ask your grandparents, ask people that are maybe older than you. Most likely they will all tell you, man, I wish I picked up an instrument when I was younger. A 2006 U.S. Gallup poll found that 82% of people wish they had learned how to play a musical instrument. That's a huge percent. Now think about those regrets we were talking about earlier, right? They keep you awake at night. You can alleviate one of those regrets by learning to play a musical instrument now. The guitar may just get you that boyfriend or girlfriend you're looking for. We've always heard, guitar players, they're the ones that attract the girls. Or if you play an instrument, it's more attractive. There is science behind it, let me tell you.
Do you have a girlfriend right now?
It hasn't worked for me, but I may just be an outlying member somewhere, okay? But this is called the sexual selection theory of music, and the theory suggests musicians are found more attractive. One of the ways they measured this is they used Facebook, and they took photos of people that had instruments and photos without, and they compared the response. And the response was always far more for those photos and people were playing instruments. Even if the person in the photo didn't actually know how to play guitar, it still had more response. So, you could give a bit of an illusion that you play, but so there is science behind that musicians are more attractive. Now that I've shared some of the amazing things that guitar can do for you, I'm going to show you what you can do with your guitar. So, think of all the scenarios that a guitar would be useful. Specifically guitar. Think of all the places you can bring it. You can play at social gatherings. Like, I've been to birthday parties where everybody brings their music and we just jam and it's been fun. Kind of play another song here to illustrate my point. So say, you're using that theory that musicians are more attractive, right? And you're on a picnic date, right? You pull out your guitar, because a guitar is a portable option. You can't bring a piano on a picnic date, okay? You pull out a guitar and you begin to serenade. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace. Down in my mind. You get the picture, right? That would kill on a picnic date. Guitar can be a source of income. Play at a coffee shop, you get those college tips, right? If you put poor college student on a jar, people will empty their wallets. Not really, but you might get some extra income. For example, I also played banjo, and we were on a camping trip in West Virginia one time. And I've always wanted to sit on a street corner and play music and see what would happen, just with an open case. In a half an hour, I made $28 on a street corner in West Virginia with my banjo. I don't know if it was because the banjo and West Virginia relation. I'm not sure what happened, but you can make an extra income just by playing an instrument. Also, let me see. Oh, you're at a campfire, right? Everybody loves campfire songs. You become the life of the party if you have your trusty guitar by your side. So, let's think about a campfire song. Turn it down a bit. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. It won't be long till I'm gonna be so. more fun than just sitting by and roasting marshmallows. Another thing the guitar specifically can do for you is you can have the guitar look. I'm talking merchandise, right? So I have my Fender shirt on here, and no one likes a poser. If you have a Fender shirt on, you had better be a guitar player or have some kind of Fender instrument. So if you actually play, you can pull off the guitar player look with all the merchandise, which is much better than being a poser. Imagine yourself practicing just 30 minutes a day for a few weeks and be able to play a bunch of songs. That's actually all it takes. Like I said previously, if you learn 4 chords, you can play probably millions of songs, literally millions of songs. Because with 4 chords, you can play in the key of G. And you can play song after song. Most modern worship songs in church are played in the key of G with 4 chords. A lot of music is played in key of G with just those same 4 chords. So in a few weeks, you could be a beginner musician playing lots of songs, some of your favorite songs. Many people think guitar lessons are expensive and hard. That's not exactly true. You could learn from a big name teacher, someone that's just crazy good professional musician, and that would cost a lot of money. Or you can learn from a local teacher that's still very excellent for around $10 to $15 a week. You can even learn for free by searching for videos on YouTube. It's a little bit harder because you're kind of doing it on your own. Also, something that's provided through Kent State University is a free subscription to lynda.com. Lynda.com is a tutorial site, and they have tutorials of how to play guitar, bass guitar, banjo, saxophone, like tons of instruments. So it won't be hard, but it will definitely take time and effort. Now that you see all the scenarios in which you could play your new guitar, I'm going to share to you why the guitar specifically is a better option than a lot of other instruments. So, the guitar is a portable option. Like I said, you can bring it on that campfire, social event, you can bring it to a picnic, you can take it to the coffee shop, try doing that with a piano, a tuba, just takes up space, right? Makes it easy to store as well. Think about home storage. If you have a large instrument, you have to have a place to put it. A guitar, you can set in the corner of your house, you can hang it on the wall, put it anywhere. The guitar is also an affordable option. If you look hard enough, you could probably find a beginner guitar for quite a bit under $100. You can find a brand new beginner guitar for about $100 to $200. And you can find guitars in so many places. I have to give a quick plug to Roseland's just because that's where I'm working currently. Roseland's has just tons of guitars. There's experienced teachers, experienced salesmen. They'll hook you up with exactly what you need. They've been around forever. They really know what they're talking about. But if you can't quite afford a store price, which they have some good options for beginner guitars, I don't encourage this, but you could use Amazon if you wanted to. I mean, there are guitars on there. But if you go to enough garage sales, you've probably seen a guitar somewhere, cheap option. Your extended family, someone in your family probably has a guitar lying around. My first guitar was just a guitar we had lying around the house. It was in storage for years, and that's what I used. So you can always find a guitar somewhere in an affordable option. I've always found the Fender brand to be reliable just because that's what I've always used. There's a lot of good brands out there, Peavey, Gibson, there's a ton of different brands, but Fender is what I've used because they've been around for a long time, they have a quality tone, I know it's going to sound good, they're iconic, they have a lot of cool merchandise, it's just what I prefer. They have their own website, and I've done this multiple times, where I built my own guitar, saw how much it was, and then clicked out because I knew I couldn't afford it for a very long time. Do you have a question?
Is this sponsored?
No, not technically. But, so, now that you know all the needs a guitar can fill, it's time to pick up your very first guitar. It's time to learn today. You can go to Roslyn's, you can look it up, just kind of figure out, you can even just kind of research. I printed out some handouts for everyone. We can kind of go through this. But this is a guide to buying a guitar. So, it's going to be it's just a few things to consider. If you go to any music store, they'll probably tell you these things. But we can kind of go over them. So, there's a lot of things to consider more than just, oh, this is a guitar, I'm going to buy it. But there's the cost, first of all. How much do you have to spend? With musical instruments, you want to spend as much as you possibly can because you're going to have that instrument for a while. And if you have a higher quality instrument, it's going to be easier to learn. Just because it's manufactured better, they take more care, the more money you spend. And with instruments, you almost always get what you pay for. The more you spend, the higher quality it's going to be, the better sound it's going to have. So when you're considering costs, spend as much as you can. I know that's easy to say and a little bit harder to do, but it really is true. Secondly, there are price levels in guitars. So for beginner guitar, we talked it's going to be about $100 to $200 for a brand new beginner. But then you can get to the second level, which is about $200 to $400 or $500. That's kind of the intermediate range, and those are going to be good guitars if you can afford those for a beginner option, because you're going to have them for much longer. A beginner guitar, if you're very serious about it, in about a year to two, you're going to want to upgrade just because you can tell it's a beginner guitar. It sounds like one. The next is the style of music that you're going to play and the tone that you're looking for. So if you want to play rock and roll, you're obviously going to need an electric guitar and amp, which is going to be a little more expensive because you have a few more things to buy. If you want to just play around campfires, or that's the acoustic is the choice for you. If you're going to play at coffee shops, you can buy an acoustic electric, which is basically an acoustic that you can plug into an amplifier. But you have to consider also, the style of music. If you're going to play like a flamenco or a kind of Spanish style, they have what are called classical guitars, and it's specifically for that flamenco style. It has different strings, it has a different tone and sound. So these are all to be considered. And with all these subjects, if you go into any music store and you tell the employees, like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to play, they'll help you pick out that perfect guitar. Does the guitar fit you? This is often overlooked. If somebody goes into a music store, they say, I like that one, I'll take that. Even if you do not play guitar, at least hold it and feel it. Guitars come in all shapes and sizes. Some are not as comfortable. Some are bigger. If you're a smaller person, you're going to want a smaller guitar. If you're a bigger person, you might want a bigger guitar. Even the neck size differs and the neck shapes. And I've played guitars where it's just not comfortable. My hands aren't really that big, and so some of the necks are just too much. So all of these things are important to consider, because if you don't have a comfortable guitar, you're not going to want to play it. You're not going to want to practice. Does the guitar feel right? This is kind of an intuition thing. If you go into a music store, they'll say, just go ahead and try one out. They want you to listen to the guitar. Even if you don't necessarily play, if you know just a few chords, strum those few chords. If you know how to play, play a little bit, because that can make a difference in what guitar you choose. Sometimes it just doesn't feel right. Sometimes you just know, this isn't the guitar for me. I actually purchased this guitar from Rosen's music store right out of high school. I had some graduation money left over. I'm like, I need a new electric guitar. I need something I'm going to have for a long time. I tried out a couple of them, and when I paid this one, it was just like, man, this feels right. This is the guitar that I need. And that's why I bought it in the end, because it felt right. Lastly, looks matter. Guitars, as I said, come in all shapes, sizes, colors, variations. This is a way to express yourself. If you have a guitar that doesn't exactly look great, you're not proud of it, you might not be as willing to take it places. I chose this guitar because I really like the white and black color. Not necessarily because it was the only one there. There was a lot of different options, but this is the color I liked. You want something that looks nice to you, that is aesthetically pleasing. It's a chance to express your personality. So pick one that suits you. Don't just pick a random one. Even beginner instruments, they come in tons and tons of colors. So pick one that suits you. So I'm going to leave you with this quote from Johann Sebastian Bach. He said, "It's easy to play any musical instrument. All you have to do is touch the right key at the right time, and the instrument will play itself." Pretty much that is all there is to music. You can play the right, we'll use frets because I'm talking about guitar, the right fret at the right time. That's all there is. So, I brought the extra guitar from the music room here. Is anyone brave enough to try something?
I know how to play a little
You know how to
bit.
play?
It's been years though, I stopped doing it.
Okay.
So I think this is good for me because I wanted to start playing again.
We're going to do a simple, just something very, very simple. Okay?
Okay.
So what I need you to do is we're gonna play, this is the F note, and you just go. Easy enough? Okay, you try it? There's it back. Yep, that one there. Just, let's go ahead and try it, yeah. So, there you go. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So we're gonna play one of the most popular songs in basketball games and arenas. Okay? Alright. Oh, this will be fun. Would you like this chair? Alright, you ready? Yep, go ahead. You know what song it was? Eye of the Tiger, yeah. So the second guitar part and Eye of the Tiger, that's all the guitarist does. So if you know how to play that one note, you could be in the band that played Eye of the Tiger. Pretty much. Good job. Awesome. Thank you. Cool. All right. There we go. So that is why you should buy a guitar or learn a musical instrument if you want to do something other than guitar. Thank you for coming today. We have some, Rosen's actually gave me some picks to give out. So.
Thanks, Seth.
Yep,
And
no
by the
problem.
way, anybody can go into the video studio room and try out many
Yeah.
different instruments here.
You can even personalize your picks. There's colors and shapes and all different kind of picks. So
Do you have personalized picks?
I have a kind that I like. So pretty good. So I was kind of these here. He really wants one.
Oh, I see. This is advertising.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
saw
God.
that. Actually,
This is Dan Gribble
found
still work
something
there?
else.
He does, yeah.
I was
He was actually my
I'll get on
band teacher.
Instagram, not the spreadsheet.
He was my band teacher
Really?
at Strasbourg.
He was friends with my dad when my dad was younger.
Oh, Dan, no, Jeremy, his son, is my band teacher. No, Dan does the work.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, he was friends with my dad when
Dude,
he
look
was
at my
little, and then
email.
he taught me lessons when I never studied.
Pro Port.
But I do regret it.
Right? Yeah.